Rabbit Hole Roundup, episode 136, Spider-Man Brand New Day, the best one yet? So guys, in this edition of the Rabbit Hole Roundup, first up, happy birthday to me. I turned 30 years young yesterday. Crazy stuff. You guys could of course check out my whole reflection post on Instagram. And also I'm gonna have my yearly reflection video on the Jared and James channel coming out this Friday. Anyways, I'd be lying if I said it's not a little bit scary. I am a very sensitive person. I don't like change, even though I know it's necessary for growth, but I still feel so young, and of course I am. And I also know I have so much going for me and so much to look forward to, and I think one of the keys to life is to always be a kid at heart. So don't let anyone out there tell you growing up and getting older means that things have to get worse and less fun. So anyways, in this episode we're looking at Spider-Man Brand New Day. I saw it last week with my brother. I loved it. My brother didn't feel the same way.
The hell, Frank? You just hit me with a van!
And sometimes Spider-Man has to do the hard thing.
So I'm going to be talking about why I thought it was great, and the story and the graphics kept me engaged the whole time, but I will also address my brother's criticism. Now following that, I watched the Thunderbolts movie from last year, trying to get ready for Avengers Doomsday, coming out the end of this year I think, and I'm definitely back on that kick. So this movie of anti-heroes was really good too. Had some emotional aspects, as did Spider-Man 2. And you saw the hero's arc of these people who weren't exactly good for much of their lives.
Being a hero, there is no higher calling.
But of course, their skills were required to save the world. Following that, I have a clip about stop yucking someone's yum. There's nothing worse than the buzzkill. If you don't like something, fine, but don't ruin it for everyone else. After that, I have a clip about why you have time, and I'm going to be tying that into my birthday this year too. Then we have our sports recap, Dunkman Group D, possibly even my favorite dunk contest ever, and this one was all about Return of the Mac McClung, dunk after dunk. The creativity in this contest was unreal. Then we have Big 3 basketball playoffs, baseball talk, and more. So anyways, without further ado, let's dive deeper now. Rabbit hole time, let's go.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
What's happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Jared Weiss. If you guys didn't know, that must mean that you're not subscribed to the channel, so you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, be sure to leave a like, drop a comment, let me know your thoughts on the video. Follow me on every platform, and if you guys haven't done so already, make sure to check out my book, Fight Through It by Jared Weiss. All links purchased it are on my website, which is jaredryanweiss.com. That's JAREDRYANWEISS.com. Buy the book, support me, and make sure to check out all the awesome shirts in there as well. Every shirt has been designed by me. Every shirt is made of 100%. Every shirt is made of 100% organic cotton. So when you support it all, as I'm always saying, would be very greatly appreciated. So let's dive deeper into this rabbit hole now. So of course, as evidenced by the title, I'm going to start things off over in the MCU and the latest Avengers movie, Spider-Man Brand New Day. So I saw this with my brother last week, and I loved it. I thought it was one of my favorite movies ever, but I was shocked when my brother liked it, but he didn't feel the same way I did.
Something bad was going to happen, and the only way to stop it was to make everyone forget about me.
His main criticism was that he felt it didn't close any doors, and he didn't feel like there was anywhere new to go with it. But if I'm not mistaken, this is part of a new trilogy, so that's kind of the point of it. It's not supposed to end things. I thought Jean's whole story was very interesting and also relatable as far as villains go. And this seems to be a theme with the new Avengers movies, characters who got experimented on and taken advantage of. And these tend to make the best villain stories because you feel bad for them because it's their trauma that's making them act out. It's not actually who they are at their core. However, a lesson from this movie is that hurt people don't have to hurt other people. You also have the MJ and Ned still being part of it, and yet they don't know who Peter is, of course.
Come on, pretend like you're not the happiest you've ever been in your entire life.
And yet it's so hard for him seeing his best friends and not knowing if or how to tell them.
And sometimes Spider-Man has to do the hard thing, even if it breaks Peter Parker's heart.
But at the end of this movie, spoiler alert, Ned remembers, I think. Another small point, but I thought the music was really good too, a lot of really good songs. Then going back to Jean, it was very interesting how she's only able to jump 30 something feet to get in someone's mind, but it was cool when Peter finally figured this part out and trap the person in the air. One question that I feel this movie opens is damage control the new shield? How you have bad guys posing as good guys? I also liked how you had Hulk or Bruce Banner as a professor, and yet he's trying to control his powers similar to Peter.
Excuse me, Dr. Banner. I need your help.
What did you say your name was?
And yet, as MJ ultimately convinces Peter at least, she doesn't see some monster, she just like sees someone struggling with who he is. Because major conflict in this movie is he doesn't know whether he should be Peter or Spider-Man, and his powers are becoming harder to handle because like he's becoming larger percentage arachnid.
What is happening to me?
I think I pronounced that right. And yet he ultimately realizes like you actually need the best of both worlds. In order for him to be his best self, he has to be like his best Spider-Man and his best Peter Parker. And of course it's hard, it's challenging, knowing who you are and like fully accepting who you are. But the movie and our lives is so much about like self-discovery. Then you also have Yelena, aka Black Widow, who is funny with like her office space being a Russian bathhouse. Possibly a preview of more to come with like Spider-Man and Black Widow merging together. Anyways, Black Widow, an underrated movie in my opinion. If you guys haven't seen that, I would definitely recommend that. And of course, I think the theater made it clear that like Frank was definitely the most lovable character. He's like this classic Brooklyn guy, Brooklyn accent.
You're losing it, kid.
But he has a tough past of his own that he wasn't ready to acknowledge, so he covered it up with like a whole tough guy mojo. And yet we see he has feelings, and like he cries when Spider-Man, once again spoiler alert, almost died. But the two of them work together and like work off each other really well, and it pays off. Now let's look at some more general thoughts. So this was definitely technology, probably AI a lot of it, used in the best way possible. I felt like my full senses were involved in the entire movie, and I had no idea like what was coming. My only critique was like it felt like things were gonna end way sooner, and on more of a cliffhanger. I felt like when Jean was getting locked up, Peter was establishing his new bonds with Ned and MJ. I thought it was over, and I felt like we were gonna explore Jean and her sister more in the next one, but then you had like a whole new movie after that, basically. Now this aspect reminded me a bit of how in Far From Home with Mysterio, you think he's a good guy, things are slowing down in the movie, and then of course there's like a massive shift right after that, like as Spider-Man leaves that bar area. The mind control element was of course cool and creepy because like this stuff has happened with our government experimenting on special people with MK Ultra and telepathy, so that part was sad seeing like what it did to Jean's sister. But in totality, I walked away from this movie with a smile on my face. I think Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man, and that's no shit to the others. I grew up on Tobey. I felt like he and Andrew Garfield were both really good, and like I would love to see both of them return again. And hey, could be the writing, could be new tech, and just like how things evolve over time, but I'm a huge fan of Tom as Spider-Man. I had been itching for a new Marvel movie for a while, and honestly, we actually have a generational run of movies all coming out at the same time. So a quick side note, we have Jumanji, Doomsday, Toy Story 5. The last time we had this like run of movies was 2019, so we're gonna enjoy this like while it lasts. Next, sticking with new Marvel movies that like I saw this past week, I watched the Thunderbolts movie over the weekend from 2025 to catch up on this new set of Avengers movies as we all prepare for Doomsday, and this was a really good, super deep movie that like I wasn't expecting to be this good.
Being a hero, there is no higher calling.
So you have an unexpected, interesting group of characters who will get put together. You've got Ava from Ant-Man, the one who had like that weird issue where she would disappear or glitch. Then you have the new Black Widow, played by Florence Pugh, who's sort of the main character from this movie.
No. That's just a fairy tale.
But who's very depressed with like the whole direction of her life. Once again, Black Widow, a very underrated movie. You have the new Captain America, and like maybe they explain it in another movie more. But my only criticism here is like there wasn't really any explanation as to how we got there. You also have like the Red Guardian, who's very funny. He's like Black Widow's dad, sort of. He was part of this program testing on kids, but he got tested on it too, I think, in Black Widow. So all of them are tied in with this woman, Valentina, who's a very corrupt politician who was in charge of a program called Sentry, which involved testing on downtrodden people and lowlifes looking for a better life, and of course they'll get tricked into this. And to be clear, governments in real life have done some shady experiments on people, starting with MK Ultra, of course. Anyway, she created this superhuman super soldier Bob, who doesn't realize like what he is as a super soldier. They're all supposed to be killed or kill each other, but after escaping, this group of anti-heroes, which reminds me of like the Suicide Squad from DC, has to team up to stop Valentina's plan and like save Bob. Furthermore, to add to this cast, you also have Bucky from Captain America, another character who's of course very familiar with being with being experimented on, as in this case the Nazis experimented on him, or Hydra.
I think we are. We can be the ones that are coming.
Buck, you have the wrong people. We have all done bad things.
So now here's where things get interesting and a bit creepy. Bob, after hearing about Yelena, aka Black Widow's emptiness in her life, so now he's convinced there's nothing to live for either, and speaks of this void.
I am a void.
And also he was able to enter into each of their minds and see what trauma each of them has been through, because all of them had initially shoved it down in their life. Now Bob had a really rough life too. His parents blamed him for everything and were always fighting with each other, very violent. So this part was really sad. But the hard truth and conflict of this movie was actually about facing your pain, facing your trauma, and how fixing it head on is the only path to healing. You can't just keep shoving it down over and over again.
The past doesn't go away. So you can either live with it forever, or you can do something about it.
Or else essentially you end up with these demons and monsters that can't be stopped. Bob is also a god almost, who can make people disappear into this void, but it takes Yelena to realize there's more purpose to her own life, to convince Bob that there's more to live for too. And so all the characters have to face their pain head on in order to heal. Also, all of them had done some really bad things in their lives, and yet a lot of it wasn't their fault per se. It was because other people took advantage of them as kids. So then once again you have Yelena's father, Red Guardian, who develops a relationship with his daughter, and he reminds her that she's a good person deep within there, and she can still be happy.
We all have things that we regret.
When I look at you, I don't see your mistakes.
Anyways, a really good movie that went super deep into the meaning of life, and these anti-heroes, or Thunderbolts, have to work together through their own challenges to succeed. So really good movie. I would definitely recommend seeing it. Next, I have a clip I want to share about Stop Yucking Someone's Yum. So let's check this one out together now.
Hey, please stop making people feel weird for getting excited about the things they love. If their eyes light up talking about their houseplants or a silly TV show or the sourdough bread they got right, don't be the person who turns someone's spark into embarrassment. Life is way too short to make someone feel small for caring about something meaningful to them.
So, very well said. There's nothing worse than a buzzkill. If you're happy and doing something you love, not hurting anyone, why is it someone else's place to tell you that thing can't be fun for you, or that liking the thing is weird?
This Krabby Patty may be the most horrible, putrid, poorly prepared, vile...
As we all know though, misery loves company. Maybe it's a sport that you love to play. Maybe it's a TV show that you love to watch. I say it all the time. I still love shows like iCarly, Victorious, and Drake and Josh. Judge me all you want, I don't care. I also love some hardcore rap by Eminem, Lil Wayne, Busta Rhymes, etc. But I also like One Direction and Justin Bieber. I'm just being totally honest with you guys.
You don't know you're beautiful.
No! And I'm sure there's so many other people out there who feel the same way, and yet they're actually afraid to admit it. Something else I'm sure you know by now, because I talk about on this channel, I love to watch Big 3 basketball, and it has slowly been gaining popularity over the past few years, but it's I'll see a clip of Michael Beasley upset with the ref. We're celebrating with passion after a game, and you see these comments like, this is cringe, or it's just Big 3, why does he care so much? Well, tell me this, would you watch a sport if the guys didn't care at all? What fun is there in that? I never understood this whole attitude of nonchalant that gets pushed to people. I'd rather be me to the fullest, do the things that I want to do, and if that makes me cringe, so be it. I don't care if it's Star Wars or video games, posting it on social media, or whatever. If you still love it, no matter how old or how young you are, don't let others dull that spark. And if you like the thing, chances are there's others who like it too. So I say be the first to admit it. You like the thing for a reason, so don't let the buzzkills in your life win. Be the tryhard, be the one who cares too much or loves too hard, because as I see it, people who care are the best, in my opinion. Next up, let's talk something related to my birthday. So this guy Scott Gange reminds me and all of us that we actually have more time than we realize. So let's watch this one together.
I think you might need to hear this. You have time. Contrary to popular belief, you do have time. Life is beautiful. Things will work out. It's my positivity email I sent out today to about 7,000 people. My call to action, stand tall, knowing that you are on the right track. Believe it, goodness is coming. You can sign up to this email if you want. There's a link in my bio, it's free. I don't really care. I just want you to know that you're doing okay. You got this.
Thank you. I definitely need that reminder, especially after turning 30 the other day. So this is also like something I've been big on recently. We hear it all the time. Time is running out. You're gonna die soon. You only have X amount of summers left. You're getting old. I think that most of that though is nonsense. So like before you scroll past this, let me explain. If you're always looking at life like a countdown, when do you get to relax and appreciate where you are? Furthermore, one of my favorite quotes is that we overestimate what we can do in 1 year, but underestimate what we can do in 10. I think that if you play the long game, as I've actually been forced to with all my journeys, you make a lot more progress versus rushing through everything to get it all done right away and get to the end the fastest. Another thing I'm big on is everything will happen when it's meant to, and when you do things out of desperation, you're the one who loses. When you just get married because you're running out of time, well now you have to spend the rest of your life with that person, just because you were afraid to be alone. The rush to the end doesn't work because you have more time than you realize, and yet like you're suffocating yourself trying to keep up with the Joneses and keep up with like this arbitrary timeline like that everyone else has. And I get it. It's way easier said than done. It's hard for me sometimes too. I have all these things like I want to achieve, and now I just turned 30. So it's like, am I falling behind? I haven't done this and that. What if time runs out? Well, look at all these things I have achieved, and things I've achieved after a ton of patience and waiting. So I think sometimes we actually need some more presence, maximize the time we have, and worry a bit less about like the whole rush and trying to do things with a deadline. Things are gonna happen when they're meant to and when they're supposed to. So like stop rushing, just keep up with the rest of society and like what everyone else tells you have to do by this time. So now let's head over to our sports recap, starting with Dunkman Group D. So, Dunkman Group D from last Tuesday, which was Return of the Mac, this was like one of the best nights of dunking I've ever watched. As an aspiring dunker and fan of the sport for years, I was in awe. Every time you think to yourself every dunk has been done before, something and someone proves you wrong, and beyond that, like every dunker has their own style. Seeing McClung competing against Jordan Sutherland in and of itself felt surreal, and this is like massive for the sport of dunking. Coming into this night, I didn't think anything could top Group C, but Group D delivered too. So for the dunks, McClung won this group, and he had to earn it. He started things off with a never before seen dunk over two guys stacked in the car, and he even like hit his head on the rim. If you're gonna do a push-off dunk, you gotta make it challenging, and that's like exactly what he did. Then his two best dunks of the night were a 540, followed up by a 720 without the ball. Now I've seen people on social media who are hating on this, and like I've said to you guys, what's wrong with you people? Yes, he didn't do it off the dribble, but this is still a 720, and it's super creative too. I've never seen this dunk before. This is like one of the most impressive dunks I've ever seen, and I've seen a lot of dunks over the years on social media. He got me out of my seat. So like, Mac killed it, congrats to you. Then we had Jordan Sutherland, a surprise addition, 1 foot god, coming off an Achilles injury, and he crushed his contest too. Every dunk was unreal, so like he starts things off with a reverse 360 off one with the ball in the same hand. He also did a 1 foot under both and like a nasty inverter too. He also threw the ball off the shot clock for a thunk and crushed it. Then it was 19-year-old Dylan Hoggan who shocked me. I was not expecting this level of consistency at that young age. He had a reverse double up over someone in a chair, and the nasty inverted scorpion that was something like I've never seen. And probably his most impressive dunk, especially being under 6 feet, he took the ball out of his girlfriend's hand and did an East Bay reverse. I was shocked that he had enough length to get that. Then you had Will Bunton, who's been flying for years. I remember like this guy on one of those old Team Flight Brothers videos years ago, and he's still flying all these years later. He came out with a windmill into a honey dip, so much power, executed perfectly, and on his second dunk, if he would have got both elbows in the rim, he probably would have been moving on too, so it sucks for him there. Hopefully he comes back. Marlo Gilmore brought the distance on his dunks, but he missed time some of them, unfortunately for him. but he had some nasty dunks too. And Brandon Ruffin, I thought he got underscored in his first dunk. My only criticism of the judges so far is like the inconsistency with scoring push-offs. The judges overall have been great, but why is it that some push-offs get scored high while others get like 7s or 6s? He came out strong, I thought too. Anyways, bringing on the finals, August 25th. Huge shout out to Shaq for making this contest happen. This has been like probably the best dunk contest of all time. And yes, there are a few big time dunkers missing, mainly Jordan Kilgannon and some others, but this overall could be like the best dunk contest so far. I'm super excited for the finals. I honestly feel bad for the judges going into the finals because I'm not sure like how you guys are going to pick a winner amongst these guys who are all like so consistent and who all have so much creativity. How are you going to like pick a winner out of these guys? Anyways, on to the rest of this week's sports recap. Let's go now. So we have a lot going on in baseball these days as we inch closer to the playoffs, starting with the Yankees, who still at the time of filming 14 games over 500. Their pitching has been incredible. Over the past 18 games, a 2.66 ERA, which is first in the majors over that span, while the hitting though, without their stars, not so good batting at a 198 average, which is 30th in the majors in that span. Now also like, Rodon's back, which is great, but now Fried goes back in the 15-day IL. This team just can't catch a break with the injuries. But outside of Ben Rice, who's been like probably the most consistent hitter on the team, and he had a really nice walk-off against the Blue Jays over the weekend, this team hasn't gotten much production. Spencer Jones like has shown some promise, but like the team definitely needs Aaron Judge to come back to be like a real threat. But of course the stellar rotation has kept them competitive. Garrett Cole's been like back to his Cy Young form, which is really great to see. And now with Rodon and Weathers who's pitching really well too, it should be like a really good playoff rotation, considering that like Max Fried should come back healthy. Now sticking with the AL, the race for that third wildcard spot is totally up for grabs at the moment. You have the Orioles who are playing some decent ball, and Pete Alonso was just like one player of the week. He's quietly having a really good season. He's going to be up to like 30 home runs soon. Then you have the Tigers whose hitting has come alive in recent weeks. This team should have been doing it from the start. And like they also had a really great rotation heading into the season, but like they just had like a horrible start. Now you have Dingler, Torkelson, and McClung all hitting great. Then you have the Rangers, who one day the team is falling off, next day they're still alive. Minnesota Twins go hot and cold, Byron Buxton's been hurt. And then you have the Blue Jays coming on strong. I've been talking about them like a lot recently. I love seeing Scherzer pitching well, hopefully he keeps it up. Jose Soriano was a nice addition at the deadline, and this team still is like one of the weakest power lineups in baseball, and yet like they're still finding ways to win. Then out in the NL, I still don't know like who to give the MVP to. Pete Crow Armstrong has been so impressive, and like his fielding is incredible too. He just clinched his second consecutive 30-30 season, and he hit like a walk-off last night. But then you have Shohei Ohtani, who also hit 2 home runs yesterday, and his power numbers are starting to like climb back up. His numbers are still gonna like look ridiculous at the end of the season. Question is though, how do you count for his pitching at the start of the season versus PCA's fielding? Also in the NL, Corbin Carroll had a huge week. The Cardinals are starting to heat up. And of course their rookie Josh Baez had a debut to remember over the weekend, hitting 3 home runs in his first career game. The Mets, I hate to say it because like I know Mets fans don't want any hope right now, but they are making things interesting. Yes, of course they're still 10 games out, but they've also won 8 out of 11 after being like huge sellers at the deadline. Then with the Dodgers, what's going on with like Edwin Diaz? Are they just like trying to make things interesting before they go in cruise control in the playoffs? Most likely. But that stacked lineup, and then of course adding Snell back into the rotation is just like so unstoppable. I can't take any of these losses in the regular season seriously, honestly. Now finally, let's take a look at the Big 3 basketball from this past weekend. So it turns out both of my playoff predictions from last week were correct. First up, I said like Boston Ballhogs were going to upset the Chicago Triplets and Montrezl Harrell, and honestly, all my keys to winning came true. I said that like Deshaun Stevens was going to have his best game on offense and defense. He went for 27 and 12. He was an animal all over the place, hitting all his post moves, and his defense on Harrell was great. No one could stop him. He even had like a nice post move on Trez and like wanted to bring the fire. Then I said last week how despite Boston's loss, the one big thing like that team did was get Garland Green involved in the offense because like he's a great player who took on a lesser role this season, and yet like he was hitting big shots and he had like a nice M1, and his defense and his hustle to every loose ball helped out big time. Then Jeremy Pargo, This year's MVP, well deserved as I've been saying for the past few weeks now. He hit the dagger 3 to win it, and like not only that, but he's tougher than his size and defense, and like he showed that in this game. He's stout and stocky. Now on the other side, for Chicago, I think two things could be true at once. Of course, this was like Montrez's lowest scoring output of the season, and like other guys stepped up, and Montrez was getting double teamed every play, every time he touched the ball, and also like I felt like his teammates could have tried to give him the ball more. Even if like they had to force it, he's just that good and that strong, and like he has to be like the main guy in their offense. But huge credit to Gary Payton, Coach of the Year, and Boston's defense, which was like all about make anyone else beat you but Montrezl Harrell. Leandro Barbosa was looking like vintage Brazilian blur in this game. For Chicago though, he was changing direction, hitting drives and threes, and like he put on like an incredible performance. I'm pretty sure like he had 19 in this game. Amir Johnson and Wesley Johnson both played solid for them, and yet like the Ball Hogs pulled it off. Then in the other game, as I predicted, Dallas Power took down the defending champs Miami 305, but this was like not an easy matchup. Honestly, early in the second half, it looks as if like Miami had this game, but then Beasley got hurt for a bit, and Dallas finished the game on like a 14-0 run. By the time Beasley came back, there was nothing he could do. Lance Stevenson wasn't hitting his usual shots, so like, as soon as Beasley went down, Dallas Power took over. Also, Dallas finally found their rhythm because like that team's ball movement is the best I've seen in 3v3. Greg Monroe had 18 points and hit some big shots. Glenn Rice was doing it all on offense and defense. Elijah Stewart went for 20 and 12. He caught fire at the end. He hit some like big time drives and buckets. And of course, everyone contributes. And of course, everyone plays a role on that team. TJ Klein, the 4th man of the year. Bino Smith. Anyways, in the finals coming up this weekend, I have to say like I'm rooting for the Boston Ball Hogs. I love seeing what Jeremy Parker was done this season. And like that team has been underdogs the whole season. The whole team definitely plays with like a huge chip on their shoulder. And yet Power feels underappreciated too, despite like being a top team. Each team has their own style, and yet like both teams get a lot of different contributions. I think the biggest part of this game comes down to like the big man battle. Who's gonna win that? Greg Monroe for Power, or Deshaun Stevens for Ball Hogs. If Stevens can replicate what he did last week, I give the slight edge to Boston, but the Power team game is tough to stop too. It should be a very exciting finals. Anyways, that's your sports recap for the week. Let's finish up the video now. Anyways, that's the episode. If you guys like what you heard, make sure to leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel. I will catch you guys next time. Stay positive, stay hustling, stay grinding. Catch you next time. Peace.